This apocalypse is delightful. Hello everybody, I'm Miles, and it's Friday the 21st of December 2012, which many people have misinterpreted to be the end of the world according to the Mayan calendar. It's not, it's simply the beginning of a new 394-year period called a Baktun, and if we were to liken this to anything that we've seen in our own times, it's basically the Mayan Y2K. However, on the off chance that a bunch of conspiracy theorist nuts were correct about misinterpreting a calendar, I figured I might as well be dressed well for the end of the world. This week, all over YouTube was the Project for Awesome, and our channel participated in that. If you haven't seen our video yet, then it will be right here. Our video was supporting the Canadian Cancer Society. If you're wondering, well, Devin, who made the video, lives in Canada. Like the other guys on the channel, cancer has touched my life personally. When I was in high school, the person who ran the local LGBT youth support group on Maui, where I lived, died of breast cancer. She had had a single mastectomy and had been in remission for 12 years, but then it came back, and when it came back, she decided not to do chemotherapy again, and it metastasized and spread to her liver, and she was gone within a year. It was an incredibly painful thing for me. She really meant a lot to me. She was a professional photographer, and she helped foster my love of photography, and she gave me my first SLR, this Minolta SRT 201, which she bought new in 1975. More recently, I had an aunt who had to undergo a double mastectomy for breast cancer, and my grandfather succumbed to liver cancer. I even have an uncle who has survived about 25 years or so after having surgery to remove a tumor in his brain. It was on his pituitary gland right in the middle of his brain, and it got so big that it started pressing on his left ocular nerve, and he started suffering vision loss, which is really how they discovered the tumor in the first place. Cancer research has come a long way, but it's something that is incredibly resource intensive. It needs a lot of money to do what it is doing, and it's something that has the possibility of saving thousands and thousands of lives every year. The Project for Awesome is over for this year, but I encourage you to go back and look at Project for Awesome videos to find charities that you want to support and take an active role in supporting them. It doesn't have to be with money, it can be with your time, it can be through spreading awareness. As far as charities that I personally support, I haven't done any work with cancer-related charities despite the impact that cancer has had on my life. It's certainly not that it's not important to me, it's just that with my busy schedule, I really have to pick and choose the charities that I'm going to support. For me, the issue of how LGBT youth are treated and supported in our school system, as well as in our society in general, has been a much more personally impactful issue. I was bullied for being perceived as gay for as long as I can remember, really. And when I was 12, we moved here to San Francisco because my mom thought it would be a more supportive environment. Yes, I was out at that time. I actually came out when I was 11. And so I started attending support group meetings and just hangout time or whatever at this organization called LYRIC, which stands for Lavender Youth Recreation and Information Center. It is the local LGBT youth nonprofit here in San Francisco. When I was 13, I started volunteering for them, and then later that year, they actually hired me to be their talk line intern. I worked as their talk line intern for a few months. I was 14 when I left that job, and coincidentally 14 when I moved to Hawaii. My volunteer work with Lyric ranged from postering the neighborhood, getting the word out about the organization, to actually getting on buses with other LGBT youth, going to Sacramento and lobbying the state legislature. When I was 14, we went to Sacramento and lobbied for anti-bullying legislation, as well as better HIV prevention education. Unfortunately, neither of those passed that year, but we got the conversation started, and eventually things moved. Volunteering on the talk line before I became the intern was really important to me, and I got to help impact a lot of people's lives. My first night on the talk line, I got a suicidal caller, and we would get people calling all the time with situations like, I just came out to my parents, they handed me a one-way bus ticket to San Francisco, what do I do? Unfortunately, these types of situations are still occurring, but resources like the Gay and Lesbian National Helpline, the Trevor Project, and so on can help connect people in these really dire circumstances to resources that can help support them. Also, when I was 14, I got involved with someone who worked for the local school district who took me around doing things like teacher sensitivity trainings and workshops for college students who were in the education program both at San Francisco State University and UC Berkeley. Helping to make educators aware of the issues that face LGBT youth is something that needs to happen far more often, in my opinion. So yes, go browse Project for Awesome videos, find charities that you want to support, and give whatever you can of your time or money to help making the world a better place. Enjoy this lovely apocalypse, and Devin, I will see you on Monday. Cheers.